Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jump Up Supercast, the only podcast on the internet that wants to be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm Will, and joining me today, Brandon.
I want to be the first to press F for Hentai Haven because rest in peace, brother.
Fuck.
Noah.
Now we just have to find another website, which actually we have found already.
And Dills.
Let me just roll up my bag of chips.
All right, there you go. Merry Christmas, everybody. We're here. Happy holidays. This will be uploaded on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
That still happens?
Get the family together as you wait for Santa to come deliver the presents and listen to us talk about Hentai Haven on this podcast. So, how are we doing this week, boys? How is the pre-Christmas week?
It's pretty good until that news, but
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. We're doing good. Smash is still out. Life is good, man.
Still playing it. We are now past the point where the Switch will give you how many hours you've played of Smash. It's been out long enough. And it's always, there's a sense of dread of seeing how much of my life have I given. It was 75 hours or more.
I wish I had that many. I don't even know what I have. I haven't looked yet.
Yeah.
I have to check as well.
But like we said, holiday season. I wanted to come in here and bring a bunch of good news for the week. And we got some good news coming down the pike, but I want to get to this thing first because it's a little sad, but I think it's an interesting conversation. So we mentioned last month, Blizzard had BlizzCon, right? Talked about all the stuff they had, all the stuff they didn't have, namely Diablo 4. This week, Blizzard comes out, makes an announcement. Hey, one of those games, Heroes of the Storm, we are pulling all but basically a skeleton crew, a small team, who will work on balance patches. There'll be no more content updates for this game. And all events that were going to involve it going forward, including esports stuff, is canceled. This, if you don't know what Heroes of the Storm is, it's a MOBA game in the style of League of Legends, Dota 2, stuff like that. Has all the Blizzard characters in it. That's sort of the pitch, is like you want to have the guy from StarCraft, Jim Raynor, fight Tracer from Overwatch. Here's how you do it.
Arthas and Illidan, all those bad boys.
All those bad dudes. And so this apparently came after, like I said, Jason Schreier reported that Activision came down, gave a commandment like God at the top of the burning bush, and was like, you have to make games faster and for cheaper. And Blizzard was like, well, okay, I guess we'll just have to pull stuff, right? And so this happens sometimes. Games will stop getting support. But I want to ask a question about specifically the event side of things. Because we now live in an era, boys, of esports, right?
Mm-hmm.
And part of when you present any game as an esport is you say, hey, we're going to support this thing for years. We want you to invest thousands of hours into this game to make it part of what your primary job is, to try to get good at this game. And we're going to be there with events supporting it along the way. You scratch our back, and you'll scratch ours type of deal. Now, no one was contacted in any events that were still in the process of being planned. No one knew this until basically we knew. No pro players knew. No one in the community knew. And so they're all sort of just out there, kicked on the tail, sitting in the snow, being like, what are we supposed to do right now?
That's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
That's pretty much a dick move. It sounds like a dick move.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's like, it would be one thing if Blizzard only made Heroes of the Storm, but they still are trying to put on Overwatch League. They're still trying to do Hearthstone tournaments. Like,
yeah.
Do you think that everyone has to sort of look at them differently now because of what they pulled here with this game?
I mean, maybe you mean kind of like, will they do that to Overwatch one day?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would hope not. It's sucky. It really is. And the worst part about a lot of these games is, support's going to stop eventually. It's not going to go forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they've done a really good job with games like Overwatch specifically. You look at Overwatch when it came out. Even when it came out, I thought it was worth $60. But the amount of content they've added to that game since it's come out is like crazy. They're just constantly adding stuff to it, which is really cool. And all of it's been free.
Sure.
Every single thing they've added's been free, which is great. And
yeah.
But it's going to end eventually. But it is kind of scary to think, because especially with Overwatch, they've built such a huge thing around it with esports. And
I mean,
I would hope that they don't do that to Overwatch because it has its own league, and I think it's kind of bigger.
Yeah.
But man, it kind of sucks though for Heroes of the Storm for them to just do that like out of nowhere. It wouldn't be that bad. I'm not really surprised they stopped support for Heroes of the Storm, but I'm surprised the way they did it.
Yeah, the suddenness I think is really the most surprising.
I mean, they
factor.
were constantly being overshadowed by the two bigger MOBA giants, which is League and Dota.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really hard to like keep competition against those two when they've already been established and they are the giants. So.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard really of anybody talk about Heroes.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, I never hear anybody saying they're playing Heroes.
No, the only thing I knew about it was that it's like had ties to Overwatch because I played Overwatch. So it had like, I think Tracer was in that game first as like an introduction.
Yeah.
And then they eventually introduced some of the characters in that game. Like, I think like Diva
and Junkrat both made it in.
Lucio, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I knew about it was I would be on the Overwatch page on the launcher and I would see a couple of things related. But other than that, man, I never heard anybody talking about it, anybody playing it.
Yeah.
So
I played it for like a little while because I was like, at that point, I was really into like League and like MOBA games in general for a while. Now I've kind of died down. I haven't played League in like months, like probably almost a year now. I'm
really surprised it didn't take off. I mean, this is like their big celebration kind of game where they have all their characters. Yeah. It's sort of like a Smash Bros. Ish kind of of Blizzard,
crossover
but like
game.
because you have all their all my favorite characters from World of Warcraft are there, and like all the cool guys from Diablo. And this is Blizzard. They're like a monolith. They have all these characters to draw from. So I thought for sure this game was going to blow up when it was initially announced.
I mean,
but I can understand. MOBAs are a real tough genre in general. Like there was another one. Wasn't there one that was going to come out with like DC Heroes or something?
There was. Well, there's Arena of Valor, which is huge in China and is made by Tencent, who they work with Riot, so it has a lot of similarities to League. But it has like Batman and like Wonder Woman as heroes in it. Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird, but that's only in China right now. That hasn't made it stateside. At least the Batman and Wonder Woman stuff. But I feel like this game was like the low man on the totem pole for Blizzard for a long time. Like even back when I was playing World of Warcraft, like a few years ago, like this game was always like in the background, never really part of the main crew. Yeah. And Hearthstone, I can understand lasting for longer because I feel like it's a lot less intensive than And it's just generally, I think, is at the heights of it, Hearthstone was higher, and I think still has more continued success than Heroes of the Storm did. Yeah. I think it's also just hard because like about a couple of years ago, there was a MOBA rush after League started blowing up huge, after Dota was so huge. Tons of people were rushing at it. But
many people tried to make a Dota game. I mean, a MOBA game is so ridiculous.
Yeah, and but the thing is, like, by necessity, a lot of those games take hundreds of hours to like sort of get it, like all the complexities of, right?
And, it that's
why it's a tough genre, because each game is like a 40-minute game, so it's like every time you go to play, like just to play one match, you're spending like a good hour there, and just you have to sink in a lot of time to play those games.
Yeah. And they're also known for like being, like going online in those games is like intimidating. Like when you first get there, you're like, I'm going to train up before I go up there because I don't want to get flamed by my team. Like I don't want to be like feeding the whole time.
Yeah, I think it's a steep learning curve for sure.
Yeah, and so I think that just the market wasn't there for three big ones. I think that sort of is the problem. It's also when League is as big as it is and Dota is as big as it is, they take up so much air. That is just hard. But but it was also, you have to wonder like if Blizzard is sort of in just overall is in a time of flux right now, like we mentioned, like if they are known for having a pretty small number, like having a low number of releases but having a lot of years of support after, right? Right. And we have to wonder if maybe that something like that will shift a little bit more, instead of because of the corporate side of things asking them to, basically,
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of years, I think. I believe like the last World of Warcraft wasn't that great, and then StarCraft kind of hit a few rough patches. Diablo 3 hit a few rough patches. There was nothing really super smooth until like Overwatch came out, and then that was the big one. Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of a miracle that even Overwatch turned out great, because like it was originally, I forget the name of it, that was going to be the follow-up MMO for World of Warcraft.
turned into
Titan,
a completely
I
different
think.
game.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
it got
Titan,
turned into Overwatch.
You're right.
And so, like, I mean, good on them for having Overwatch be a success, but, like, it's just looking at Blizzard, it'll be interesting to see where they go in the next couple of years and sort of what changes they may have to make. But yeah, so that's a little bit, that's the one sort of, like, kind of bummer story that I wanted to get to really fast. But I know this, sometimes we'll get to it pretty fast. We had the November MPDs come out. Not going to get into too much in the weeds about it, but that November, big month, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday. This is when video games get sold. And this is the first month this millennium that all video game consoles on the market sold 1 million in a month.
Oh, shit.
So,
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, PS4, just barely number one. Then Switch was just behind. Xbox One, surprisingly, was just behind Switch. It was a very close month. They all had success, though, right? Like, all of them. It wasn't like anyone was, like, feeling bad over Black Friday.
I mean, good for the industry.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Also, I mean, here's maybe the easiest question. What do you think won the month games wise? What do you think was the biggest game
Of November?
of November?
November.
It was not. I'll tell you, it was not a
Red Dead.
November release. Yeah,
Red Dead.
nailed it. It's Red
Yeah.
Dead. Yeah, Red Dead. Then Call of Duty. Just 1 and 2. It's an easy thing. We got some other news though about some specific games. Pokemon. Let's go. We got stuff about. Can you figure this one out? It was the highest grossing Pokemon game since Pokemon Stadium. Which you're like,
How's that possible? What?
It's because
Wait, Pokemon Stadium was the
Console.
highest grossing Pokemon game?
Console.
for a first month. No, for
Oh.
Pokemon. The thing was, this game and Stadium were both $20 more than the handheld counterparts.
Oh,
Right?
I get what you mean. Totally.
Oh, I
what
see.
you mean.
Okay.
It's
yeah,
revenue.
yeah.
Yeah, there's the catch that they'll tell you. And the Pokeball apparently was sold super well with it, and that's a $90 thing that also
That's
counts.
like $100.
What a sneaky
Yeah.
boy.
What a sneaky boy. But it's selling about on pace with X and Y, which is, I think, the right place for it. It's not like doing so crazy good that they're not going to look at the main series as being important, but it's not so bad that it's like a huge flop or anything. Like, it's a nice little middle space for Let's Go, as a person that likes it but doesn't want it to be the only thing going forward.
Yeah, I mean, please.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
It won't be. I think we can say that pretty confidently now,
It
hopefully.
makes me worry about
No.
until I see Gen 8. With
I
the
think Gen 8
details.
will be just fine.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I really do.
Well, we got a little thing about Gen 8 last week, which is that it's been in development. It started development actually like 6 months before Sun and Moon came out, so it's been in development for a hot minute.
Maybe. That's
Really?
a long
Wow.
time. That
Yeah.
gives me
Yeah.
some hope.
That's you got to when you're making a new game for a new console, but it's good that they did.
Especially if you're Game Freak and they just...
They take their time.
I still feel like Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee were like a prototype / stepping stone for Gen 8, like the testing the waters with the game, see how people
I
react.
feel like, nah. I don't know. I feel like it's really going to be indirect. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? Because there's stuff that I kind of want them to take, there's stuff I don't want them to take, so we'll see what they.
You don't think it's going to have the same art style?
No.
Or like models?
No.
The Pokemon models.
Pokemon models, probably.
because those are
I-
future proofed.
But if they're going to make new models, I mean, come on. They've been using the same models since X and Y, right?
Yeah, I mean, they just
Pokemon.
initially designed them in mind to be for HD. That was the whole thing. Was like, we just don't want to have to remake them whenever it comes time for an HD console.
True. I mean, I've seen people do, upscale Sun and Moon into HD, and boy, it looks good.
It looks good. I mean, that's partially why the games run so weirdly on the 3DS, is because they're way higher polygon models than the 3DS was designed to run, basically.
Do you think they run weirdly? I just played Moon and I thought it ran fine. I don't know.
It's whenever like the totem battles come into play that sometimes it gets a little. A lot
little
of people
choppy.
complain about it, but
If you ever played it in 3D, oh boy.
Well, I never did.
but yeah. So I mean, but good for Pokemon. Smash Nikkei, which is a Japanese publication. Normally Nintendo does this stuff. Said that in 11 days, Smash Brothers Ultimate, including digital, has 5 million copies sold through. So that doesn't mean
Fucking
shit.
Yeah,
Christ.
baby.
Holy shit.
Which is faster than Brawl, which you may know as the best-selling fighting game of all time. So,
Not anymore, buddy.
not anymore. Give it a couple months, and yeah, we can say that 100%.
Blast
But,
out the water.
Yeah. So Smash Brothers doing very good. Overall, good month for video games. Yeah, I mean, even like it surprised me. Red Dead like outdid GTA 5's launch, and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that kind of game to do it.
That's impressive.
Yeah. We have some fun little follow-ups to news from previous weeks. So it's the end of the year, so let's put a nice little bow on it. We have an official date for Walking Dead, the final season, coming back.
Yeah, baby.
January 15th. That's pretty fast.
That's soon.
Man, I can't wait. Dude, January is a packed month. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
quit your job.
I can't wait for January. It's going to be so busy.
I got to afford all these video games. So
Sell your body.
okay, good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Make up for Hentai Haven.
Make a new
true.
hentai website.
There you go. You'll make money just hand over fist. Also, we have I guess it's worth mentioning. This is another one that is on PC, Epic Games exclusive. Just sorry, Steam, we're not on there anymore.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh, baby.
Red Dead?
No, Walking Dead.
Oh, Walking Dead. Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Oh, it's not on Steam.
Not on Steam. Not on Humble Bundle.
Man,
I mean, it's on Xbox.
It's on. It is. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying on the PC platform. So
that's
out of
brutal.
guns.
Damn,
Yeah.
Steam, what's going on?
they're getting wild with it.
Like he's getting competition now. They're doing this. You better step up the game.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah, I like it. Good.
Am I actually gonna have to download this thing?
Look at what's going on with consoles. I mean, they're all stepping up their game. Well, like lots of healthy competition going on, but they're all like, man, the race is on.
Yeah. And speaking of Discord, we talked about their storefront before. They came out and said, we are also doing a 90-10 split with developers. So that is about 2% better than Discord. So pretty negligible, but still, I mean, that's another one that's sort of directly pointing a real finger at Steam, basically saying like, haha, you're not doing the split right.
Oh, shit. So
I guess it's worth mentioning. Sorry.
No, we just got some extra information that Epic is helping fund the remaining episodes of The Walking Dead.
That is true. Yeah, that's part of the whole deal, which is why they get to be there first. But if you already bought the season pass like on Steam, you still get it on Steam. So you're not have to dealing with the like, oh, do I have to rebuy it on Epic Store? You get it.
Right.
Which is good. So that's sort of we kept the news a little bit shorter this week because it's the holiday season, and I think it's fun to take a little bit of time for reminiscing about Christmases past, because I think that for a lot of people, video games, video game consoles, all that other stuff is tied directly into Christmas, because that's when you get presents as a kid. So let's just take a little walk down memory lane. You got any precious, like, the classic video Nintendo 64 kid freaking out about the console, anything like that? Any just like Christmas memories associated with video games that you guys got in your brain?
God, I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I remember only one, and it's not even that like big. It's just like one game. Like the one I remember, it was like a PS1 game called Vandal Hearts 2. I was like, I'm really into strategy games, and I really liked the first one. So I was like, I knew it was gonna be a game because I saw the packaging. I said, like, I knew the shape, of course, and then like I opened it when I wasn't supposed to, and then I had to try to repackage it. I was like, so
That's good.
Yeah.
That's I liked that as a kid. The like seeing into the room, shaking the case, and like if you hear the disc rattle, like I could hear the difference between a GameCube disc and a PS2 disc. So I was like, I know which system.
Vandal Hearts 2, what a game. What a weird game. It was good though.
I played the first Vandal Hearts. Never played 2.
Oh yeah. 2 is weird. It's like the art style is completely weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah. I remember like as a young lad, in like 6th grade, I think, or whatever, Guitar Hero 3 came out, right? And that was because Guitar Hero was expensive. You got the big controller, so that was basically the thing I got for Christmas. But I was like, I'm taking a shot. I never got a Guitar Hero before. I want to get this one. And after we opened presents at my house, we would always go to my grandma's place, and my grandma had like 7 kids, and all of them had kids, so there's like 50 people packed in this house. But she has a basement that had an old CRT, but no heating. But I went down with my Wii and my Guitar Hero thing, and I said, "Can I set up Guitar Hero?" And they said, "Sure." And I started up and I played it like with a couple of my cousins. And then like within like a couple hours, because they could hear the music, and it was a bunch of music that like my aunts and uncles recognized. There was like 20 people that were down in this basement that were all like, I want to turn, I want to play, and were like asking me about the video game and all this other stuff. And I thought, and it was like, that was sort of where the focal point of that Christmas was around this dumb Guitar Hero controller, and that was fun. It was fun to like have my family be engaged on my hobby, which was video games, right? Because a lot of them are like, I don't know, I played Mario, but I don't know anything else. So that was
yeah,
that was a fun Christmas
definitely.
thought.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That sounds
No,
like
I was
fun.
I was thinking about recently. I convinced somebody to get a Super Nintendo Mini, and they said they were gonna play with their family over the Christmas, and I was like, oh shit, that's like heartwarming for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is heartwarming, but I don't know why it's heartwarming for me because I have no heart.
That's fair.
Yeah. And like, I guess is there also, there was another important thing that happened on growing up, which is also just the holiday break in general, right? Do you, like, and the 2 weeks
for
off
sure.
from school, and like
That
I would
was
always,
just the best.
it was the best because it was also, it's cold outside, so you're not like going outside a whole lot, you know, like you're inside, so like warm up, plug in a video game controller, and just have a good time. I remember I played. This was like, sorry if you have any, go ahead, but
No, go ahead.
in like 2014, the first PSX, I think it was, they announced, hey, we're re-releasing the Suikoden games on the PS3. And I was like, I never played those before. I want to play those. And there is just something nice about there being like, it being cold outside and gray, and just like, yo, I'm sitting down with a long pixel PS1 JRPG, baby.
Oh yeah,
And just playing that for 2 weeks straight and having
Just
a ball.
letting your teeth sink deep into a game. Yeah, for sure.
It's awesome. I had tons of fun with that.
Man, those were the days, man. Because we're all adults, we work so much. It's like you don't really get that. But yeah, man, those were good times.
Mhm.
Man, it's like I have video games and Christmas like just go together for me like forever, my whole life. So
Can you,
know,
think
I-
of
I'll-
Can you think of a particular instance? Like,
I can think of so many. Like the first video game I ever got was, I had experience, when I was younger. Obviously, other people had video games, and my parents took note. Oh, like this kid is really interested in them, and at the time, I can't remember exactly what year it was. Let's take a rewind back to probably like 94, and Aladdin was huge. Aladdin was a big old deal back in like 94, and just came out on the Sega Genesis. And I remember seeing a news program on TV being like, Aladdin Mania is running wild, everybody. There's Aladdin stuff everywhere, including Aladdin, the video game. And I remember just being like watching that and being like reacting to it and be like, there's an Aladdin video game? And, I loved Aladdin at the time. It was my shit. So my parents like must have saw my reaction to that, and boom, I got a Sega Genesis, my first game console I've ever had, and I got Aladdin was my first game I got. And man, I still have that console. I still have that cartridge to this day, and
Awesome.
I loved it. I loved that game. It was great. Sega Genesis version better than the Super Nintendo version. Always will be. Don't at me. All right.
Yeah.
soon you'll be able to get the PS4, Aladdin, when they re-release that movie.
And I got like there's so many getting my Game Boy. Nintendo 64 was also like a huge one too. I remember my grandma bought it for me, and Christmas Eve was like we did the same thing, kind of like you did, Will, where but we did on Christmas Eve. We go to my grandma's house, and all her kids and all their kids. So it was, it was a big deal. And, everybody's opening gifts, and I got like one or two, and I was like, oh, these are cool. Right. And then but everybody else had like a ton of gifts. And I was like, wait a minute, did everybody forget to buy gifts for me this year? What's going on here? Right. I'm like, what the hell? And obviously, you're a kid, you're feeling a little bit like, okay, like this is kind of disappointing. Everybody else got a ton of stuff. And then, okay, that's all the gifts. And I'm like, damn, dude, what the hell did I do wrong this year? And then my grandma's like, hold on, there's one more out back, and just goes and gets, a big box, hands it to me. Boom, Nintendo 64. I did not care. That could have been the only thing I got. And I was like flipping out.
You were that kid in the
And
video. That was you.
Yeah. That was me. I was a Nintendo 64 kid. And at the, of course, though, that night, Christmas Eve night, my grandma bought me the N64 with no games. So
no.
I had to wait till Christmas morning to play it, though, because my parents bought like the games and the controllers.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to wait till Christmas morning. I got Super Mario 64 and Star Wars Shadows of the Empire were the 2 games I got.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 good games.
Yeah. 2 games that were on the top 10 MPDs. Hey. That's, man, yeah, that was part, like, and that's part of it, too, is, like, when you look back at, like, Christmas stuff, because, like, obviously, as a kid, you're just like, I hope I get the present, right? But you look back and you're like, oh, like, you can appreciate that, at least for my parents, and I assume for probably all of ours, they didn't, like, they weren't into video games. They didn't, like, know what the things I was asking for was, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So my mom would go and she would, like, I found this out later in life, and I was like, oh, Pam, you were the sweetest lady. She would like go and like get a game magazine every year. She would go get, I forget which one it was, may have been EGM, and she would look at all the recommendations for like what was good for kids, what was good for adults, what was the good games that came out that year, and she would like get games like I didn't ask for, but she knew are probably like from the other games, because they would have like games like this there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would like put a ton of time into like thinking about like what games would Will like to get as a present. And I was like, oh, like, as a 6-year-old, you don't know that. But like when you're, older, you're like, oh man, what a nice thing.
It's super nice. Like, yeah. And even like I said, like the Aladdin thing, like I was just reacting to it, watching it and being happy. And then like to know that my parents were, standing in the other room, hearing my reaction and being like, I know what we're going to get him for Christmas. Like that's super cool to, to think about.
Did you ever have, you mentioned the grandma thing, the problem of like asking for the game and then getting the wrong game? That whole thing?
No.
Okay.
It's never happened to me. Not like the, you got, instead of Bone Storm, you get Lee Carvello's putting challenge.
Yes, exactly. That's precisely what I was thinking about.
No, that's never happened to me. Though my parents made some really good decisions. Like when I first got my Game Boy Pocket for Christmas, I didn't even know what games I would want for it, right? But they got me, they got me Donkey Kong 94.
Mm-hmm.
And what a good decision, man!
94?
That game's fucking great.
94 is good. That's awesome.
Yeah, that game is so good.
Man.
I was gonna say something so bad.
Oh.
I was gonna say your parents made a real bad decision with keeping you.
Oh no.
Well, I am a bastard and I was a mistake, so it's fine.
That's fine. It adds up. I remember on a similar thing. I like Donkey Kong 64 as a kid, which may explain some of my brokenness now. But I remember my mom was like, "Oh, the rare people that made that Donkey Kong, they made this Conker game," and she ordered it. And it was like, it was just barely shipped before she saw the M for mature thing on it and like looked it up and she was like, oh no, oh no. And she like called to cancel it. And I remember seeing her on the phone and it made me laugh.
I was just thinking, like, I would not give a kid Vandal Hearts 2. That game is bloody as hell. And that's some deep themes going on. They're like religious fucking. Mm-hmm. Oh man, so bad.
Well, it almost reminds me of a time my mom bought me a t-shirt, a Rock t-shirt. Like the wrestler, The Rock, and it was just like Know Your Role Cafe, and it had a Brahma Bull on the front holding like a pie, and the back had the menu on it, and oh boy, there was a lot of swears on the back of that shirt.
That's good. That's very good.
And I remember wearing it once, and then her looking at the back and being like, "Okay, all right, you're never wearing that shirt again."
Yeah, so it was, so like it's just fun to like, Christmas like is obviously different as an adult and whatever, right? And like now when a video game comes out, I can probably just buy it for myself. But
yeah, GameCube was the last console I ever got for Christmas. After that, I bought them all, with my own money.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I got Wii for Christmas. Like I wasn't even expecting it.
Dude, that's. I wonder how the hunt for that went. What year did you get it?
I don't remember any day but today.
I got it on launch day, but I had to sleep outside of Walmart, and it was like 10 degrees outside.
Yeah, that first year getting the Wii, you had to hunt for it.
I got it.
It was crazy.
I got it with Twilight Princess, I think. Right?
Yeah, that would have been launched then.
Yeah.
It would have been launched.
Dang. So someone went on a hunt for that for you. That's awesome. That's like
I guess they like me for some reason.
oh wow. Yeah, like so I mean it's just hopefully Christmas is always fun for everyone, but it is fun to look back, and specifically as a kid, because it's it's a unique thing.
I hope everybody listening has a good Christmas with lots of video games.
Yeah, as many as you can possibly fit in. I still work in the school system, so I still get a Christmas break. So who knows what dumb RPG I'll fit in this time.
Oh, nice.
Maybe
How
Shantae.
exciting. Maybe Shantae. Oh, that's good synergy.
Not really an RPG.
No.
We can
Just
make
a
it work.
game.
Just a game.
It's a good game.
It's a good game. But yeah, so that was sort of just a little trip down memory lane. But now let's take a look that isn't quite as, like nostalgic. It turns a more critical eye on the list.
The list.
In the last week, Ills, you continued your crusade by adding Trash It.
Oh yeah.
And we trashed it, as I've used that joke 3 times now. Now,
Still a good
Brandon, it is your turn to add something to the list.
Oh, baby. Well, you said we're going to stop nostalgia, but we're
Uh-oh.
not, actually.
Ooh.
Joke's on you.
I'm the fool.
You are a fool, man. Because I'm actually going to pick a game that I have a decent amount of nostalgia for. And I was looking at the list the other day. I said, we need another Zelda game on the list.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Did I just mention it?
Oh, boy.
No, I don't know, but I'm going to put... No, you didn't. I'm going to put my favorite Zelda game of all time on the list.
Oh, no.
The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Link's Awakening DX.
DX.
That's the
You did.
I was about to
definitive
say, if you were
version.
gonna say Zelda 2, I'll fucking laugh my ass off.
Good choice.
No, I'm being serious. No joke.
Oh, gosh.
Good choice.
yeah,
Good choice.
Good
People
choice.
always, people think I'm crazy when I say Link's Awakening is my favorite Zelda.
Well, you
When
are.
I make sure I reiterate it's my favorite Zelda, but I don't think it's the best Zelda.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
important.
those are two different things. Yes, it's important when you tell somebody, oh, well, this is my favorite. They think, oh, well, this one's better. You're right, it is, but this one's still my favorite.
Yeah.
So what is it that makes it your favorite, Brandon?
A lot of things. For at the time when I first played it, Game Boy games weren't that long. Look at Super Mario Land. You can beat that game 30 minutes. Kirby's Dream Land. Boom, it's easy. You're done in less than an hour. A lot of these games super short. But when I first played Link's Awakening, oh boy, I was like, I can't believe there's a game that I can take anywhere that is this expansive and this big. And this, it was just crazy at the time. And it was very charming. I loved the setting. I loved the characters. I loved the gameplay, the items, the dungeons, the music. Oh man, everything about it. It just was great, and it still is. I think it still holds up. It's an amazing game.
It definitely
I think
does.
it's better than I say it's better than Zelda 1 even, at least. I know Zelda is a series where most all the games are masterpieces. Almost.
Yeah, they're all very good.
But I'd say this one definitely is too. I love this game. It's just it's so much fun to play. I could play it over and over again, and it's definitely weird in the timeline of Zelda. It's a little
It's just
offshoot.
a weird game, period. Yeah.
It is.
Well, I think it fits in well with the other handheld Zeldas. Ages
it
of seasons and whatever the other agents.
Those games are also very good, and they use the same graphical style and kind of engine that this game built off of.
Yeah, and that game has really, really good dungeon design, really solid. I think it's it has it an amazing world for sure.
It does. I love it.
I mean, and I do love we can get a little it's a weird it's for a while it was maybe my favorite Zelda story, which is a weird thing to say, but I really like the world. I really like the scenario, just the hey, you're trapped in this dream, you need to wake up this windfish, all the stuff that comes with it towards the end of the game that you find out, and just that it has this weird dreamlike thing to it, just of all of it, there's a lot of weird creatures that don't necessarily show up in a ton of other Zelda games. There's a bunch of just
got a chain chomp.
Kind of chain chomp named Bow Wow. It's
I love that thing.
You need him to beat the game, and you're like, that's so cool.
It's the third dungeon, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just it's it stands unique even among all of its other compatriots, including the ones that were built off it. So I mean, it might be my favorite 2D Zelda game. So
Well, you're going too far, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. But yeah. So Brandon, where do you want to put it on the list?
All right. Well, shoot for the moon, right?
Oh Lord.
So,
well, where's the moon?
I want to put it at number 18.
Oh, that's the moon?
That's
Wow.
the moon?
I would go higher.
I would go higher.
All right. I mean,
Oh,
I'm willing
no.
to move higher. I think it should go above. I think it should go above Ghost Trick, personally.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god. I would put it either right below or right above Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, I think so. I'm cool with that.
Okay. I'm cool with that too.
Like, yeah, that game is really, really good.
Mhm.
It's really, really
I haven't
good.
played
I
it, so
love
I
it.
have zero influence on this.
It's just, it's a great game.
Mhm.
Fuck.
I'd be willing to put it. I mean, because I've.
I don't know,
played
man.
A little bit of Symphony.
Tales of
So I
Symphonia, man. I don't know. That's a hard fight for me.
Put it above.
Mm.
Put it above.
I mean, right. I mean, that's why I stopped at Donkey Kong Country too, because I have an affinity for that game.
As we all
You
know.
guys know
Yeah.
all
It's
about-
better
I
than
love that game so
Octopath
much.
Traveler too.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's really good. It's really, really good.
It's. I mean, I think partially like you were saying, Brandon. It is crazy that this thing is on the Game Boy. I am so flabbergasted at that thought sometimes. Like it's.
I was when I first played it.
I mean, the Game Boy is a crazy system. You like because like you said, going from Super Mario Land to Link's Awakening all the way to Pokemon, like just the scale of how the games changed and evolved from beginning to end of that
Right.
system is nuts.
Mhm.
But Link's Awakening as a thing in a lot of ways, the moment that solidified to me is like, oh, this is a thing where I can go on adventures on the go. Like
Yeah.
I can have a full-fledged Zelda in my pocket, and that's crazy. But not just that, like it's a Zelda that it's designed with that sort of in mind. Like the dungeons are a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact in some ways than like Link to the Past. But I think it benefits from that in some ways.
But they're
I think
challenging too. I
But
mean,
they're
they're really challenging.
They're really challenging.
Like, it took me a while to
Yeah.
beat this game. I feel like I
You get
started
near
this
the
game
end.
over and over, like a few times.
I've beat this game probably like 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
and every time when I get near the end of that game, I'm sitting there sometimes like scratching my head. I'm like, I beat this game like 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
now. What the fuck?
Yeah, like the 8th, I think it's like the last dungeon. I'm like, what is going on here?
And
It's good.
I love some of the items they give you that are so like non-traditional Zelda. Like I mean, some of them show up later, but like the feather when you get it like early on.
Yeah, the
you're
Rock's Feather, yeah.
You're like, oh, there's just a jump in Zelda. There's so many different
Yeah.
ways that they can
Rock's
use that.
feather.
Like the magic powder and trying that and all the different enemies and all the different effects it would have. Like stuff like that. I really enjoyed.
The little side-scrolling section.
I really like the part of the game where you had to trade the items back and forth with all the characters.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
It's a
so
fun
cool.
trade quest.
That's so
What's it called?
cool.
Yeah. It is really cool. I love the big alligator man too. He's just very, very fun.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
There's all sorts of little like there's I think like a Mario cameo, like not necessarily Mario, but a dude that kind of looks like him.
It's like Malin where he, he turns into a raccoon. So you're like, oh, what's the Tanuki thing from Mario?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Just
Yeah,
like
the trading quest though is one of my is probably like my favorite side quest in any Zelda game.
yeah.
And I really liked the fishing mini game in that. I liked the little crane game. I loved everything.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect this much detail from a Game Boy game, but there really is so much to like about this game. And it's definitely not like a watered down version of Zelda. It's
Yeah, and in DX too, they added an extra dungeon
Yeah.
that uses like color based,
and it's gorgeous in DX. It's gorgeous.
Yes,
It's a good looking
Yeah.
game. And just, I mean, Noah, maybe plug your ears for the next 30 seconds if you don't want any spoilers. But like
Okay.
the way that game ends is so beautiful and bittersweet, and I love it so much. Like, and just that opening thing with Marin, and like I wonder what it would like to be a seagull, and then like that all of them have to disappear because of the necessity of Link escaping, and then it's just seeing that on the horizon, and it's like, it's the first time that I felt like an emotion that wasn't just like, oh, I beat the bad guy from a Zelda game. There was like a twinge of sadness to it, and you're like, oh, that's so cool, and it's really
Mhm.
I appreciate it a lot for that. So I mean,
I've seen arguments that like the windfish thing is like the fact that it's a dream is really stupid, but I liked it. I think it worked well for a little Game Boy, side Zelda game, like not part of the main series, just little side quest and for a game. And I thought it was perfect.
Yeah. It's a really good like self-contained story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's why I would be willing to put it either. I think maybe above Symphony of the Night. All that having been said.
Oof.
I mean, I'd be willing to put it below it too. But I'm thinking in that space. I agreed with you, Ills, when you said that.
You think it's better than the remake of Resident Evil?
Oh man.
You try to place it amongst a lot of tough choices there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is.
I want you guys to think clear. Like I said, I haven't played this game, but I want you to really think where you're trying to place it.
I put it above Octopath. I put it above Symphony. I think I put it. Remake is where I start to waver a little bit, but I still think that with Remake there are some parts like, I don't hate the tank controls like a lot of people do, but I think that there are moments in that game where frustration does arise, also from some of the puzzles that really can that can be like not challenging in a fun way. It can just sort of be frustrating. With Link's Awakening, I think that there is just this experience where there's not a ton of moments where I ever felt like I wasn't discovering or exploring or having a good time.
What about Tales of Symphonia?
Tales of Symphonia, I mean,
that's a hard one for me. I don't know,
it's
man.
like
That's real
amazing
hard.
story, great gameplay, all around amazing game right there. Best of its series.
When we ranked it first, there was already a good disagreement on some of that stuff. But like, I mean, from my end, but like, I just think that Tales of Symphonia is an impressive game, like especially when it came out, right? But there is something to me about Link's Awakening that it serves as almost a landmark handheld game. I think in just the scope of it, in a way that I think is so wildly impressive that I would still put it above Tales of Symphonia, which I think is a very good version of a refinement of the RPG formula. I think that Link's Awakening overall just has so much wildly impressive to it that I would put it above it.
Brandon, you've played both Tales of Symphonia and Awakening. What do you think?
It's tough. I hold both of these games to really high standards. Like some of my favorite games of all time, that we're talking about here.
Yep.
It's hard.
I'm not going to argue
really
against
hard.
you guys putting it where you want to put it. I just want to, I would just want you guys to know, what you're making a wise decision, and not going based off of memories.
I have no doubts.
Yeah,
I have no doubts that it being around where we're talking is not. I have no doubts that it isn't a wise decision, I feel like though, if this is my measurement, I feel like I always come down to it in an impulse. If I just wanted to pick up a game, and that's how I determine, I feel like I'd impulse pick up Link's Awakening.
Fuck.
If I saw both of those games sitting there and I was going to impulse play one of them, I would probably do Link's Awakening. But to be fair,
it's a longer start time to get into an RPG than
that's the thing. That's definitely
you're almost going
with an RPG.
As soon as you start Link's Awakening, you're basically starting. You started it already. It's like once you get the sword, go. You just go.
Yeah, there's not much of cutscenes. You got to be ready to fucking batten down the hatches if you're gonna play a Tales game.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh, this is bad.
They're both so good.
Shit.
I think I'd put it above Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sure. I don't know. I think I spoke a little too soon when I said Castlevania because I forgot Tales of Symphonia is right there.
All right, well, there you go. It's above.
Do we want to put it above Remake?
No.
No.
Okay.
You haven't even played the game.
I still don't want to put it above.
What do you think, Brandon?
I think. God damn, dude, I'm like still on the fence though. You know what? I think overall, just because of how good of a game Tales of Symphonia is and how beefy of a game it is, and just I think I would put it just under Tales of Symphonia. No, I know I'm on the fence and I keep flip flopping here. But it's tough, dude. It's tough when you're ranking these games.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 3 of us here, so it's not like there's a
stalemate.
Huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
But Tales of Symphonia has there's a shit ton to it, and in the games, it's one of my favorite RPGs.
Yeah, and it has
so is Octopath.
It has some really good emotional beats. That game, Tales of Symphonia.
Oh yeah.
With Colette, and Colette's whole story, I think is really interesting. Well, I know you don't agree, Will, but
I love the characters in Symphonia.
I like Tales of Symphonia.
I love the gameplay. The gameplay's one of my favorite RPG battle systems of all time too.
Mm.
For me, it's I'm usually I prefer turn based, but this game was it was so fun. I never got bored of battles, which is the thing that in a lot of RPGs is really that's what gets to me, getting bored of battles.
The grind,
yeah. But this game never really gave me that. Neither did Octopath, and so those are both very good RPGs. So that's why they're both that high on the list. But I think I would still put at least Link's Awakening above Octopath.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's a fair spot, right underneath Tales of Symphonia.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. So that
puts it at number 13.
Number 13. Unlucky, but it's all right. It can manage. Number 11, Resident Evil Remake. Number 12, Tales of Symphonia. Number 13, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening Deluxe. 14, Octopath Traveler. 15, Left 4 Dead 2. I almost read Red Dead Redemption, which isn't even close, so I don't know what's wrong with me. That is the list. Thank you for your choice, Brandon. It's nice to talk about a game that we like to end the year. That's fun. Though technically, I guess we will have one more podcast for the year, I believe. And the next time that we are all together, I think we're going to be having a little conversation about just some of the games of the year. We can have a little brief discussion. We can have a discussion about what our game of the year is, though I have a feeling it won't take too long to deliberate. But I think next time that all 5 of us are here, because Moose is busy with the holiday rush, slave to the grind of capitalism, and Saf is laid up in bed sick. But the next time we were all together, we're going to have an episode where we just talk about that stuff. Look back at the year of 2018 in video games. We also have coming up this week the Shantae. Yeah.
No, that's next week.
That's next week.
Okay,
that's next
not
week.
This week.
Yeah, Shantae though. We are doing a game club on Shantae. That is a game that I think there's just a lot to talk about because Shantae has had a wild history as a franchise, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it. But
forward to putting her on the list.
Ooh, that's true. Let's see, Noah, because you did not play Link's Awakening, so you sort of had to sit and listen to us potentially take away some of your favorite games and put it above those. I think you've heard the final phrase. So what do you think on that? Final plugs. Jump Up Supercast is where you can find us everywhere on Twitter, twitter.com/Jump Up Supercast, on Instagram, on Twitch. That is our branding, so it works. You can find us on SoundCloud, of course, if you are listening on another thing. Interesting how you got here. And if you are listening on a podcast service of your choice, be it on Apple, on Android, whatever, 5 stars. It helped us out. But that is...
And you can follow along on the Pastebin.
Oh my god, you're right. You can do that, huh?
Damn it. Forgot again.
I'm going to make a post-it note and just put it right on my TV screen.
Forehead? Put it on your forehead.
Put it on my forehead so I can read it in the reflection. That is the podcast for this week. Noah, your final phrase.
Brendan always spoke highly of the game, Link's Awakening, and I always kind of want to try it, so maybe in the new year, I'll definitely get around to playing it, see if it's really as good as everybody says. You got my hopes up. Hopefully it delivers.